Hi, everyone. It's Shauna. All right. I'm just going to take a look and see. I haven't been doing my dancing, I think, quite as much at the beginning lately. I hope everyone is doing so well. I'm just going to do a really quick double check. Yeah, it looks like I am there. Yay! Happy day. I hope everyone is doing so well. First of all, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out and to be here. If you're here, make sure I can see some people with me. Make sure that you comment down below, say hello. That's always fun. You can let us know where you are tuning in from as well, because I find that infinitely interesting. All right. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Shauna Stewart Douglas. Hi, Christine. Nice to see you. Let me see here. Who else do we have? Oh, Karina. Hello. Nice to see you. Nakia. Hello. Wonderful to see you all. Wonderful. Perfect. Good. And it looks like you must be able to hear me too. Perfect. Well, my name is Shauna Stewart Douglas, and I am so very glad you're here. And today we are going to jump in. I have a tendency to just dive right in because this one, this is a good one. This is a good subject. It's a good topic. They're all good topics, of course. I find it very interesting. We're going to be talking about 3 steps to your profitable group. Very important subject, everybody. Let me see here. Who else do we have? Oh, good. Yeah, Nakia, hi. All right, so if you're catching this live, make sure to say hello as others have. Thank you so much. If you're catching this on the replay, hashtag replay as always with my dorky hand gesture here. Let's go ahead and just jump right in. If you have questions, go ahead and pop them in. I can't always see them right away. Let me see if I can see this a little bit better if I go over here. I don't always see them right away, so I might have to jump back and kind of look, or I might have to catch you afterwards in the replay. But we'll make sure that we answer some questions right away, either on the call or kind of otherwise. So perfect. Let's get going. I am jazzed. Okay, so we're going to be doing some drawing here today because I like to draw. Okay, well, I mean, I like to draw. There's always pictures in my head, and I feel like I need to get it out. So I like to draw. My children, I think, would have something else to say. I'm not a very good drawer, but let's get to it, shall we? Right. So your online community. All right, the 3 steps to a profitable Facebook group. So I think, as we know, you need an audience, right? You need an audience. Obviously, you know that already. You know the power of Facebook groups, online communities. More specifically, like Facebook, all these platforms are incredibly powerful, but I think we are knowing more and more as time goes on the importance and the power of owning your own audience, right? Rather than borrowing attention from other people's audiences, from posting, hoping for to get traction in other people's groups, and with other people's audience, whether it happens to be from a PR perspective, podcasting, whatever that happens to be. All fantastic options, but it is really fantastic and a lot more controllable to have control over your own audience. All right. Without your audience, essentially you're borrowing attention, right? You don't necessarily have that consistency because, as we know, things change. People just they admins sometimes change the rules for what can post or what doesn't, or they don't get to it in a timely manner, or they just kind of reject things for any number of reasons because they can. It's their group, right? So when you have your own audience and you're owning your own space, this is giving you a consistency and reliability that you don't necessarily have otherwise. All right. And I think that people, we start out really excited. We start really excited once we get that, we understand that we want the power of our own audience. And then we kind of go, okay, excellent. I'm doing this, or I'm going to do this. I've joined a lot of groups. I've been running communities for almost 9 years now. And I've joined probably thousands of groups over the years. I've joined and then kind of left groups kind of as things goes on. And what I understand, I mean, it's exciting because I know how possible it is. I have grown groups to, support over 20,000 women, kind of grown this community here, seen it with my clients as well. I know how doable it is. I know that you don't necessarily need thousands and thousands and thousands of members to have a space that is really beneficial for your business, right? It's a series of processes. So I know how exciting it is. I get super excited seeing how, people are jumping on this. And then I see them drop off, right? It drops off. Often I hear that the first few weeks, they're going like gangbusters. Everything is fantastic. The Facebook algorithm is working in your favor. I don't know if you know this about the Facebook algorithm, but it favors new. So when you have a new profile, a new page, when you first connect with someone, the algorithm, it essentially prioritizes you, right? So it helps to give you some of that, initial momentum. And then after that, it starts taking other things into effect, like, how many new members are you getting in engagement and all those kinds of things. And you can fall, up or down the algorithm rating, depending on how things are going. But at first you have it on your side. And so people are going, yay, this is awesome. And then, as time goes on, you have to have some other systems in place to actually kind of keep that momentum going. So people are really excited at first, and then they kind of drop off. They get a little bit frustrated because it feels like an echo chamber. Okay, no one is joining, or the people that are joining aren't necessarily your ideal clients. Like maybe you went in a flurry and invited all of your friends, and if your friends aren't necessarily your ideal clients, then you've got a group now full of people who aren't your ideal client. Okay. And then maybe they aren't the people in your group, they aren't booking sales calls. You aren't making sales through your group. Okay. And oftentimes what I end up hearing is that it feels like a drain, like it's sucking their energy. Like it feels like one more thing to keep up with on their list. Okay. And it's so unfortunate because it is very doable, and it's a daily kind of incremental thing that you can do to really get the exact momentum that you want. Because what do you want? You want to grow with your ideal clients, your ideal potential clients. You want them to be in your community. You want those to be the people who are kind of saying, yep, I need to be there. You don't want to have to spend, you want that to happen without spending 12 hours a day on Facebook. Nobody wants to spend 12 hours a day on Facebook, right? That we want your group to be engaged. Okay. You want your group to be engaged. You want your group to be a lead source. All right, so comment down below. Let me know what is the biggest priority for you with your group. Is it the growth side of things? Is it the growth side of things? Is it the engagement side of things? Or is it the sales side of things? So just write in the comments, growth, engagement, or sales. Just let us know what you are feeling like you're wanting most from your group. Okay. All right. Okay, so some of the mistakes that I see on an ongoing basis is people not being consistent enough with the right content. All right, because that's an important thing. With the right content, we want to incentivize action. There is a way to post content that is productive, right? Because it's not just about the engagement, getting people to comment and like. That is a part of it. That is a part of the equation. It's not the only thing that is going on. It's not the only way to build that thriving group that you want, that is growing, that is engaged, that is driving sales. Okay, so I see that lack of consistency with the right kind of content, with the right kind of ebb and flow of content happens quite a bit. Having the next thing, number 2, is having something of a build it and they will come and buy approach, right? Just like that movie, whatever that was, is like a Kevin Costner movie. I don't even know if it was called Build It and They Will. No, it was called Field of Dreams. Yeah. So having that kind of mentality where you're wanting to rely on the Facebook algorithm to grow your group organically. You're wanting to be able to kind of sit back and just think that people are going to find are going to be able to find the group. And I completely understand wanting this. My experience with that is that it doesn't work. It doesn't work to just kind of think and hope that the algorithm is going to be what really fills the group. It's definitely more of an active process. All right, and then the next kind of issue is just not taking steps to ensure that you do have that reliable growth, engagement, and sales. So it's just because we just don't know. Like people just don't necessarily know that there are some repeatable steps that you can take to go ahead and grow your group, to keep that engagement going, and to get that engagement flowing through to qualifying conversations, to sales calls, to sales. There's some pretty simple steps that you can take to do that, and people just don't know. So then they get frustrated, and then they think that the Facebook group is not an option for them, but it is. It totally is. So yes. Oh, Magdalena. She says that I'm changing my niche, so my group is transforming, starting from scratch. All three. Yeah, fair enough. The beautiful thing about these about communities and about groups is, again, you don't need thousands and thousands of members for it to be effective for you, right? I mean, the first tranche that I generally say to people is you want to get your first rush, like your kind of first focus to 100, where that's just, you're really focusing in on there, and you're really looking at getting yourself to that number. The next tranche is 300. Looking at building some of those systems in to make sure that you are creating an engaged group. So honestly, it's kind of exciting that you're starting from scratch, because now you have an opportunity to put all of these things in place to make sure that your space is one that is going to be really self-sustaining. It's going to be self-sustaining. It's going to be fulfilling. It's going to be engaged. So you're kind of in a really great spot that you are starting from scratch, so to speak. That's an exciting place to be. So okay, so we want to just make sure we're taking those steps to kind of do those things. So essentially, what is happening here? What can we do? How can we step in to make sure that you have this thriving group? So we're going to start to do some drawing here in just a second. Let me make sure our stuff is here. So essentially, what we want to do is we want to solve the biggest. See, I checked these markers before we went live, so hopefully it's working with me today. So we want to solve kind of the three biggest problems that stop experts, that stop service providers, that stop coaches from getting your group to a place that's growing your business, right? Because again, we don't have a group for the sake of having a group. That's just a waste of your time and effort. It's just kind of an exercise in futility and frustration. So we want to make sure that it's something that's actually helping to sustain your business. So the three kind of key things that's standing in the way. Okay, well, ultimately, what do we want? Ultimately, we want to have a thriving group. Okay, and thriving group is defined as that it is growing. Okay, it's growing with your ideal clients. Thriving means that it is engaged, and thriving means that you're getting sales from it. Okay, so three of the things that really I find stand in the way of this is, first of all, it's having an unclear offer. Unclear offer. I have to keep on clicking over to make sure that you can kind of see this okay. All right, so unclear offer. All right, and then the next thing is stagnant growth. Hopefully I spelled that correctly. Okay, and then next is low or no engagement and sales. Okay, so these are all the things that are getting in the way of you doing and getting to exactly where you want to be with your group. Lots of colors that I'm going. So first of all, let's remove any of that issue. Okay, those are the three things that are standing in the way. So first of all, we want to remove any lack of clarity around your offer. Okay, so basically what we want the opposite of that, which is you want to have offer clarity. You want to be kind of really clear on that. What this comes down to is that if you are unsure of what your offer is, you're going to confuse your ideal potential clients, right? And of course, if we're confused, then we're not buying. Now, I always start with this. Now, usually what people ask me is they kind of say, oh, well, how can I grow my group? How can I grow it? I just want to grow it. And then my question is always to back up a little bit and say, okay, what exactly is your offer? Who specifically is it that you serve, and exactly what problem do you solve? Now, this doesn't mean that you need to have every single thing perfect in your business before you go ahead and jump in and start making progress and trying. This is not something that you want. I'm messy action, man. Like we're going to move forward and go ahead and start getting some movement, because as soon as we act, then we start getting information, and then you can tweak things a little bit as you go. Let's say you're targeting a particular demographic, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, actually, I think it's going to be this set. Go ahead and do that. That's absolutely fine. We can kind of tweak things as we go. But you still want to have kind of done some of that thought ahead of time. So you've got some of that information on what it is that you, on who it is that you're speaking to and the problem that you solve. So you want to kind of have some information around who you are speaking to. Okay. So essentially what you want to do is we're going to start with your niche. Okay. Start with your niche. Now, I was going to write a couple more. Start with our niche. Now, we want to make sure, again, as we just kind of mentioned, that you're really clear on who you serve. So even though I know that chances are what you do, you are able to help most anyone, right? Say if you're in real estate, you can help anyone buy a house. If you're a chiropractor, you can help anyone with what you do. If you're a parenting coach, you can help any parents. Okay. So I know that you've got that, that you have the ability to be able to help anyone with almost anything, but we want to be a lot more clear on that. The reason is because the more clear it is that you are on that, that means that you don't have to be shouting. Okay. You don't have to be shouting across everyone and everything. What it is that you can whisper. You can say specifically to a specific group of people specifically what they need to hear at the right time to be, and that makes it so that you're able to convert them so much more effectively. It makes the marketing and sales side of things so much more fun, so much more pleasant, so much more seamless. Okay, so first is kind of making sure that you're really clear on the niche side of things. All right. Next is being clear on your offer. Right, I make it a square, not because your offer is square, or boring or anything like that, but because of the fact that we kind of have some clear understanding of what those boundaries are around it, all right, and how it is that we can communicate about it in a way that's going to incentivize action. I say the word incentivize action a lot because essentially we need to be able to know what it is that your potential ideal clients need to hear to help them raise their hand, to help them kind of go, oh yeah, that's me. I understand your thing. That's exactly what's going on for me, right? And we need to be able to say that in a bunch of different ways, all right? And then finally, what we do is we optimize your group. Okay, so we optimize that container, we optimize the group that you have. If you have a group already, awesome. We're just going to go ahead and optimize it. If you're starting from scratch, just like we were talking a couple of minutes ago, that's absolutely fine as well. You're going to grow your group with ideal clients, and then these new connections, they're going to be the start of your new client pool. Okay, so the result of this is that you are totally confident on your ability to deliver real world results for your ideal clients, communicate what you do in a way that incentivizes action without burning yourself out, right? Because we're whispering, right? We're whispering to the right people as opposed to yelling over all of the noise, all right? The second problem is that we need to solve is the stagnant growth problem. So essentially, what is the opposite to that? You want to be in a way that your group is consistently growing with those ideal clients. So what we're wanting to do is we are wanting to first, you're finding and connecting with your ideal clients. Okay, opening the door to, see, that means connecting. The two little arrows going in there. All right, so first of all, we're finding those ideal clients. All right, and then that's going to open the door to qualifying these leads and moving closer to a sales conversation. Right, but first we have to find them. Okay, next is the attraction side of things. Next, we're attracting and inviting, more potential ideal clients. We implement a tried and true process that keeps the leads flowing for your groups. Okay, and then finally is the nurture side of things. Next, we're nurturing those conversations, nurturing those comments. Because conversions rather, they happen in the conversations. And so we have a sales process, like our sales process starts here. It's turning those comments into dialogues to see if we're a fit, because we do not want to get on sales calls with every single person that we engage with. We need to be a little bit more forward acting and more qualifying in this process. Now, this is a very, very important process because so many of the people that I talk to say, okay, I've got a bunch of engagement on this post. What do I do now? How do I turn this into a conversation that was going to give me an idea of whether or not this is someone that I can help, or if they even want my help? How do I do that in a way that feels natural, feels normal, that doesn't feel spammy, and doesn't feel like super uncomfortable, which is super true, because if you are communicating in a way that feels out of integrity at all, that's a big problem because you aren't going to do it. We need to make sure that this is something that you're communicating in a way that just that feels good, that feels like you, that feels good for you, and it feels good for them. Because if it doesn't feel good for them, then it's gonna not go anywhere, right? So we're not madly messaging people we don't even know. That makes no sense, and that doesn't work. Okay, so we want to make sure that we are communicating in a way and we are knowing how to direct the conversation. And the beautiful thing about this is that this is learnable. This isn't something that you just kind of have to innately know and innately need to be able to kind of break down constantly for yourself. We have some scripts for you so that way you can go, oh, this is how you do it. And then it becomes a lot more natural, a lot more fun. Okay, so by now your group is growing, you've got leads, and you're working your sales pipeline, right? Because we need a pipeline. We need one that's kind of coming on a consistent basis, or that's growing and building on a consistent basis. And so the third and final problem is that you need that engaged group to ensure that you consistently have those new leads, right? Those new leads, and that you are consistently having people raise their hands so that you know that you have this consistent potential lead source. Okay, so first of all, what we need to do is we need to have some engagement. These are people hugging each other. That's what that is. Yes, it is. Again, I told you I'm not very good at drawing. Okay, so we need engagement and we need sales. Okay, so we're not going to set up a plan. This doesn't mean a plan that's going to take a team to execute. We just want to set you up so that you have a clear and unique to you path, right? So first, what happens is that we get your social calendar all mapped out. This is the calendar. It looks like a present, but that is a calendar. Okay, so you're not going to have to run around trying to figure out what to post or when any longer. 10 plus offer posts that can turn connections into prospects. All right, so your posts, they're short, they're simple, but they are constructive. They're constructive. They are productive. All right, that was one of the things that I said before with one of the mistakes that I see people make, is that there is a lack of consistency and a lack of consistency and a lack of productivity, of being kind of productive with what it is that you're posting, and how. Okay, excellent. And Christine had a question. You need to find your ideal client. Isn't it a waste of time to communicate with someone who isn't really interested? Yes, totally, exactly. And so we need to kind of get to that sooner rather than later, so that way you aren't wasting your time. Absolutely, absolutely. And so that's why it's really important when you're coming back to the engagement side of things, is that you aren't going ahead and having conversations with people who aren't interested. There's no point in doing that. That's a total waste of time. Also, it's annoying for them. It's not productive for you, and it's annoying for them. We are not in the business of annoying people. We are not in the business of trying to convince anyone of anything. That's not what we do at all. What we do is that we do create content that helps people to get engaged in a way that is constructive. Okay, and it's actually like there's just some things that you can do to make it so that people do that they kind of jump up. People are jumping up and saying, oh yeah, actually I do get that. All these kinds of things. But you need to balance it, because if you are consistently just doing things that are more on the sales side, then that just happens to be that you're just going to annoy people, and people are going to stop listening, because they aren't necessarily going to feel like they're not wanting to always be inundated with kind of sales kinds of things. So you want to balance it, but you want to make sure that it's there. But yeah, you're right. You don't kind of say things that you don't want to be bugging people who do not need or want what it is that you have. Okay. All right, so let me see here. So essentially what we want to make sure is that you have an ongoing process, an ongoing content process that is going to incentivize action, and that is going to make it so that you have consistent leads coming in on an ongoing basis of the people who are interested. Okay, so this is how we are kind of like building all of this out. All right, next is on the momentum side. Oh, that's a very big check mark. Okay, so next what we're looking at is keeping tabs on those key aspects of your process. So group growth, offers, calls. We have a list that you're going through on an ongoing basis that is keeping the momentum going, and helping you to see that you are making progress because of the fact that you are making progress on all these various key drivers. All right, so it's not just I'm going to make, I'm going to make, 20 extra grand this month or 10 extra grand this month. And it's not that's not the only key indicator, although it's a very, very important one. There's other pieces that you were looking at as well, kind of saying, yep, okay, this is how I drive to that. Okay. So that momentum piece is really important. And then finally, of course, is stuff on the sales side. Finally, we'll set up your sales flow so that you are set up with proven scripts. All right, these are things that they're easy to learn, they're easy to follow. They can get you onto calls with qualified prospects, and then you're positioned to close the sale. All right, now I think for most of us, sometimes the sales part is a bit uncomfortable, right? It's a bit uncomfortable. You're kind of feeling a little bit unsure, like, how do I do it? How do I transition this kind of conversation into something that's actually going to potentially lead to a sale? And how do I do that online? Because so many people, of course, have a process. Maybe you've had a practice for many years that has kind of gone very, very effectively. Maybe you had a very effective referral process for you that you had, in partnership with, with other practices or with other practitioners or those kinds of things. And some of that has maybe dried up, or you're a little bit frustrated because of the fact that you don't have that consistency that you need and want for your business. So what you can have there is that we have a way of making it so that you can qualify, move forward with some scripts. So again, you're not having to reinvent the wheel every time you enter into a conversation with someone, and you're able to quickly identify whether somebody is now ready to be moved forward or not, or if they're ready to move forward or not. Okay. So this is how hopefully you can see me okay. This is how you get a thriving group. Okay. These are the pieces that you need for your thriving group. Now, let me know the piece that you feel like you need the most help with. Like the part that you're kind of, I know that maybe, it feels like you need to do all of them. Maybe you feel like, that there's one of them that happens to be kind of really solid already. Kind of let us know, like, which one that you feel that after hearing that breakdown, whether it is around the clarity of your offer, whether it's the right offer or growth or engagement or sales, the piece that you feel is a bit of a gap that you're really wanting to have there. Oh, hi, Kara. Nice to see you there. So glad that you joined. Excellent. Good. Yeah, see, again, I can't see everything. I'm sorry, everyone. I can see all these comments, and it's only showing me 4 comments, but I know that there's more than that. There we go. Julie, growth. Yes, absolutely. That's a very common thing. And again, because the important part is that we want to make sure that we are growing with our ideal clients, right? Christine says growth as well. Yes, with our ideal clients. That's really very important. And making sure that we are, because then once you know that you're in front of your ideal audience, then essentially the magic that you create, you aren't speaking into an empty room. You're speaking into a qualified room. Now, as you are growing, it's absolutely going to happen that you are going to have some people in there who aren't necessarily your ideal clients. That's going to happen. That's kind of just the way that it goes. And so what we have to do is we have to make sure that we are, first of all, clear on who our ideal target is. And then we are knowing that we are focusing on, that's our primary focus, to make sure that potential ideal clients are there. And then it's really important that you still have the process, my little like claw hands here, you still have the process to further qualify them, to make sure that you are having, that you are having conversations with people who are interested, who are raising their hands to kind of say, yeah, this is what you're talking about is something that I need help being solved. And then how to naturally translate that into a conversation that feels effective, that feels natural, and is constructive. It's not just you chit-chatting forever and going, how do I switch this over to a conversation that's actually constructive? Okay, there we go. Yes. So Christine says, once you have the growth, I can engage and then try and sign up clients. Right. And so then we just talked about how all of those pieces go together, right? Absolutely. So the growth is the first step for sure. You want to make sure that you have that. But one of the beautiful things about these processes is that you can take someone from cold to close in a relatively short amount of time. It's not about Again, it's not about that build it and they will come and eventually buy thing. You do not need to have, you don't have to wait until you have thousands of members before you start implementing all the other processes, right? You want to have that first kind of big push to 100 members for sure, and kind of focusing on that is a time when it makes logical sense to really kind of focus on the growth side of things before kind of prioritizing the other things in the same way. But we can start implementing these other steps immediately, so that way you are building and nurturing and creating an engaged space, as opposed to sometimes what I do hear people saying is they're saying, well, I'm just focusing on growth right now, and then later I'm going to then look at kind of putting offers in front of them and then thinking they're going to buy, because that doesn't kind of work. That's not how it goes. I mean, maybe if somehow you suddenly get like millions of members in your group, which would be really exciting. But then what's going to happen is that you are going to be, you have a whole host of other issues if you've got that many people in your group, with getting people to be able to see them and being able to have enough kind of resources to be able to engage with everyone so that they will still see what it is that you're doing. Yes, Julie wondered about suggestions on how to get people in your group. Yes, absolutely. I will follow up with you for sure. So, okay. So remembering this, all right. So this is a long one. Normally I try to keep these really short. This is a longer video today. So the key areas here: one, getting really clear in your offer. Make sure that you're clear with that, with the understanding that do not use that as an excuse to not go ahead and try to make some forward progress until you have everything kind of pristine and perfect. No. Done is better than perfect. So we're still making some forward progress. You make an initial plan, go there, tweak, get information, and kind of tweak. So we want to make sure that we keep on making progress. Okay, even if you aren't 100% absolutely sure, things are going to change. That's life. That's how it goes. All right. Next, need to have that system for growth with your ideal clients, right? This is what you want. You need to have a system for doing that. You need to focus there. And the next, of course, is a process for the ongoing weekly engagement and sales, right? You need a process, and it needs to be happening every week. This is not something that you focus on a push on every 2 months. That's not enough. We do not want to boom or bust. The feast or famine thing is just really unpleasant and stressful. We want to make sure that that is coming through regularly every week. Every week, we want this to be happening and for you to be having these conversations. Okay. So if you are looking for this for your group, if you're looking at, so if you are helping clients now, you get results, you have been doing that, that you can. And if you're wanting that kind of nurtured, growing, engaged group that is giving you those leads that you need for your business, so you don't have that feast or famine, then what I want you to do is let me know. So go ahead and comment down in the group. So think about the words that I've already said here now. Comment group down below, and let's look to see if I can help you with what it is that you're doing, with the kind of business you have, the kind of offer you have. I'll ask a couple of questions just to kind of get a sense for that. All right, so comment group below if this is something that is interesting to you. I'll also drop my contact info down in the chat, and you can send me a message as well. Okay, all right. Yes, you are so welcome. You're very welcome. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful. I would love to hear what has really, really resonated for you. If you've had some aha moments, if you've had some things that kind of went, oh, excellent, I'm really going to focus on this or that, please let me know. It's always really, really helpful. Thank you, everyone, for all of your comments. It's been fantastic seeing you here. I love seeing it. And what I'll do is I will, of course, jump on afterwards and now see what it is that everyone has said, because Facebook is not letting me see everything, even though I can see that there's a bunch of you here. So thank you so much for being here. So wonderful to have you. And I look forward to continuing to keep the conversations going, and I will see you next time. Okay. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.